Hello, everybody. It's about 5 weeks to go, so it's time for another weekly polling recap. We've got a lot to get through, so let's dive right in. We're going to start on Real Clear Politics and look at the 7 battleground states. And just like last week, it's dead even. It's tied at 48.3 for Trump and Harris. They didn't add any new polls yesterday as of the time I made the video, but Harris is up in 4 states: Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Trump is up in Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia. Every one of these 7, though, is a 2-point margin or less, so theoretically, they could all easily go either way. Down to the timeline, it's clearly neck and neck. The red and the blue lines are completely overlapped, so we're almost in the home stretch. We're just not quite there yet. It's going to be in the final 3 weeks. Can't wait to see what happens, but let's take a look at some of the individual state polls. Back on Saturday, we've got polling from Atlas Intel. They polled all the 7 battleground states, and there's some mixed data here. In Pennsylvania, Trump is up 3, 51 to 48. In Michigan, they have him up 4, 51 to 47. From the same pollster in Wisconsin, he's up 2, 50 to 48. In Georgia, he's up 1, 50 to 49. But in North Carolina, Harris is up 3, 51 to 48. Then in Arizona, Trump is up by 1. And in Nevada, Harris up 3, 51 to 48. So that is some favorable Rust Belt polling for Trump. If he's leading in those states, would he really be trailing in North Carolina by 3? I would guess not exactly. Maybe Mark Robinson is a factor, maybe not. But for comparison, New York Times and Siena College also took a look at some of these states. In Michigan, Harris is up 1. In Wisconsin, she's up 2. In Ohio, Trump is up 6. And in Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, Harris has a very comfortable 9-point advantage according to Siena College. So everybody has their favorite pollster. When they're ahead, they don't really want to look into the details, but if they're behind, people usually like to dig into the numbers and find where they might have went wrong. It's nice to get a Delaware poll, even though that state is not expected to be competitive. Harris is up 20, 56 to 36. Back on Friday, we've got another mix of polls. And feel free to pause it if you'd like. I'm not going to go over every single one of these. Some lower profile races. We've got Virginia from Rasmussen. Harris only up 3 there, 49 to 46. And it's the exact same margin in Minnesota. Only a 3-point advantage for Harris. It's Rasmussen. I'm sure the reaction to that pollster is going to be polarized. But Survey USA also took a look at Minnesota, and they've got Harris up 6, 50 to 44. CNN also did Nebraska's 2nd, and they've got Harris up double digits, 11 points, 53 to 42. We've got New York from Emerson. Harris up 14, 54 to 40. Rasmussen did New Mexico. Harris is up 6, 50 to 44. Going back to Thursday, plenty more swing states, and they all pretty much even out to being a pure toss-up. But we've got another one from Emerson here in Texas, and that one has a 5-point advantage for Trump, 51 to 46. And down here, Emerson also took a look at Virginia. There's a bit more comfortable lead for Harris. She's up 8, 52 to 44. And these are just the pure head-to-head matchups, not factoring in any third-party candidates. So that's a glance at some of the state polls. This time we're going to skip over the national popular vote polling. Generally, Harris maintains her advantage there, but it's all going to come down to the Electoral College in the key swing states. Now, one thing I want to quickly point out is this Atlas Intel poll. Again, it's kind of a mixed bag, but it's good news for Trump in the Rust Belt. However, let's take a quick look at their crosstabs for Michigan. Now, they do present their data very well. It's easy to see, easy to follow. I give them a lot of credit on that. Now, everybody can nitpick if they over or undersampled certain demographics, but the thing I want to point out here is the gender breakdown. Again, this is for Michigan. With men, Harris is up 3 points, but with women, Trump is leading by 9. That to me seems counterintuitive. I noticed a couple of other potential discrepancies in some other states. Some of them go in the other direction as well. This pollster is supposed to have a very accurate reputation going back to 2020, so maybe they're going to do another great job, maybe they're not. Now let's keep it moving. Let's get on 538 and take a look at some Senate races. So again, Atlas Intel took a look at the battlegrounds, and you can see the dates they sampled as well as the sample sizes. And in Wisconsin, with 1,077 likely voters, they've got Tammy Baldwin only up 2 points over Eric Hovde. This says 48 to 47. The 2 points I would assume is with rounding. So that's one of the best polls we've seen for Hovde. In Pennsylvania, Bob Casey up 2 points over David McCormick, 47 to 45. In Nevada, it's also a 2-point lead for Jackie Rosen over Sam Brown, 48 to 46. And in Michigan, this does seem like an outlier. This is by far the best poll I've seen for Mike Rogers over Alyssa Slotkin. He's up 6, 49 to 44. In Arizona, Ruben Gallego up 4, 50 to 46. Siena College also did some of of these Senate races. And in Wisconsin, it's a bluer result for Baldwin. She's up 7 with likely voters. In Ohio, Sherrod Brown is up 4 over Bernie Moreno, 47-43. And right back into Michigan, it's the complete opposite result. Alyssa Slotkin up 5 over Mike Rogers, 47-42. We've got a Senate poll for Delaware, only 383 likely voters, and this was taken a couple of weeks ago. But it's a comfortable lead for Lisa Blunt Rochester over Eric Hansen. She's up 21, 52-32. But back on the 27th, we've got more Pennsylvania. Bob Casey with the likely voters up 9 points. More Arizona polls. Ruben Gallego comfortably up 13 and 6 points. Wisconsin from RMG Research. Baldwin again up 6 points, 51-45. We've got a New York poll. Apparently their sampling dates spanned an entire month, and they only got 400 likely voters out of it. But Gillibrand is up a comfortable 19. In Virginia, Tim Kaine is up 10 over Hung Cao. And then a new one in Texas, Ted Cruz up 4, 49-44. Some of the other more notable races to point out are going to be in Maryland, and we've got Larry Hogan trailing by 11 points with the likely voters over Angela Alsobrooks. She's up 51-40. Then we've got more of the battleground states. Again, I'm not going to cover every one of these, but then we've got Nebraska. And in the special election, former Governor Pete Ricketts is up a very comfortable 18, 53-35. Poll is sponsored by Dan Osborne. He's the independent candidate in the regular election for U.S. Senate against Deb Fischer. And that one, he's showing he has a 1-point lead, 45-44. Did a deep dive into that U.S. Senate race a couple of days ago. There's some conflicting data there. Democrats hoping they can take down Fischer with the independent Osborne. Republicans are thinking that's a lot of hype. There's no way that's going to happen in that red state. I think we need to see some better polling in this race. But then we've got another one here in Ohio from RMG Research. This shows a lead for the Republican challenger, Bernie Moreno. He's up 2 points, 48-46. Then in that open seat in Utah, John Curtis is up a healthy 19 points over Caroline Gleich, 53-34. A couple more to point out. We've got Florida. Rick Scott up 2, 46-44. And in Montana, again from RMG, Tim Sheehy. He's leading incumbent John Tester by 7, 50-43. There's some good stuff there, but let's keep it moving. Let's take a look at some governor's races. There's not a ton of races this year, but we did get a lot here out of North Carolina. It's looking great there for Josh Stein. It's looking pretty bad for Mark Robinson. From several different pollsters, Stein is up double digits, anywhere from 10 to 17 points. So that race has quickly fallen off the map there for the Republicans. For the open seat in Delaware, the Democrat Matt Meyer is leading Mike Ramone by 19 points, 51-32. That state had a late primary. It's possible something develops late there, but it is a pretty blue state. Meyer theoretically should win that comfortably. And the last one to mention here is going to be in Indiana. This is a Democratic sponsor, but it has Republican Mike Braun up 3 points over Jennifer McCormick, 44-41. The Libertarian in that is pulling in 8%. So those are the governors. Now let's finish it up in the U.S. House. And in these, the quality of the poll is going to vary a lot more. There's a lot of races. Many of them are internal polls from the campaigns themselves or have overtly partisan sponsors. But we've got Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District. Incumbent Republican Don Bacon is trailing Tony Vargas in a rematch. With likely voters, Vargas is up 3 points, 49-46. Bacon has been known to win some narrow races. We'll see if he does it again. In the open seat for Delaware, it's a big 21-point lead there for Sarah McBride, 52-31. Another one, and Nebraska's 2nd has Vargas up 6. And from the Tony Vargas campaign itself, he's showing that he has a 4-point lead over Don Bacon. Then we've got California, and it's a close race in the 45th. Derek Tran is leading incumbent Republican Michelle Steele by 2 points, 47-45, but that is sponsored by the Tran campaign. Now we've got all 4 races in Utah. That poll only used registered voters, and the polling dates started back in late August, but in every one of those, the Republican is up at least 29 points. In Montana's 1st, in the rematch between Ryan Zinke and Monica Tranel, Zinke is shown to be up 1 point, 46-45. That is an internal Democratic partisan poll. In Iowa's 3rd, Lanon Bakam is up 4 points over Nunn, the Republican, 50-46. That one is sponsored by the Bakan campaign. Then we've got a bunch of California polls, and they're all pretty close. There's several rematches in here, but it does look like the Democrats have the slight advantage. The one of note might be here in the 47th. That's the old Katie Porter seat, so it's open. And Scott Baugh, the Republican, is shown to be up 3 points here over David Min. The rest of these are very competitive and way too close to call. A couple of seats here in the 16th and the 17th have 2 Democrats in the general election, so there's no chance of a party flip. In Oregon's 5th, Janelle Bynum is up 2 points over incumbent Republican Lori Chavez DeRemer. That's 45-47, and that is sponsored by the Bynum campaign. In Virginia's 7th, it's an open seat, and is shown to be dead even between Eugene Vindman and Derek Anderson, 43-43. That one is sponsored by the Anderson campaign. And finally, on the 23rd, 23rd and New York 17th. From the Mondaire Jones campaign, he's shown to be trailing Mike Lawler by 2 points, 47 to 45. And in Alaska, with 400 likely voters, from American Viewpoint and sponsored by the NRCC, that's going to be for the Republicans, Nick Begich III is up 4 points over Mary Peltola, 44 to 40. So I think that pretty much covers it. And remember, if you're interested in more depth on these polls, you can click on most of these and try to take a look at the crosstabs. There's going to be some good stuff for each side. It's always easy to cherry pick things you like or you don't like. I still think it's a little bit too early, especially in some of these House races. It's difficult to poll so many districts and get high quality results. There's still time to see how the national environment is going to shape up, but always take these polls somewhat with a grain of salt, especially if they're sponsored from the campaigns themselves. Usually you might want to add on at least a couple of points to the other side, but it all depends. Sometimes a candidate will put out a poll showing them trailing, but in the end they might actually pull it out. So they could underestimate themselves, but a lot of times the electorate is just hard to gauge. We don't really know exactly who's going to turn out on election day, but this is where we're at with 5 weeks to go. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about any of these polls? We've got President, Senate, Governor, and the House. Does anything stand out to you? Are there any outliers? Who has the better polling? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.